Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari. Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari. Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana. Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Iskon Guruvind ki jai, Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Gotanatai Mai Prashishi ki jai, Gaur Premanandi. So today, instead of Chaitanya Charitamrita class, I'm going to be talking about, because it's appearance day of Jiva Goswami and also of Vamana Dev. And so I'm going to base the class on Jiva Goswami. I'll just speak a little bit about Jiva Goswami first, and then I'll just talk about the pastime of Vamana Dev from Bhagavatam, 8th canto. So first of all, read from Nectar of Devotion. The chapter 8, offences to be avoided. So number 24. This is just a list of all the different offences. So this is number 20, starts from number 24. 24. One should not fail to worship the deity according to one's means. In Bhagavad Gita, it is stated that the Lord is satisfied if some devotee offers him even a leaf or a little water. This formula prescribed by the Lord is universally applicable, even for the purest man. But that does not mean that one who has sufficient means to worship the Lord very nicely should also adopt this method and try to satisfy the Lord simply by offering water and a leaf. If he has sufficient means, he should offer nice decorations, nice flowers, and nice foodstuffs, and observe all ceremonies. It is not that one should try to satisfy the Supreme Lord with a little water and a little leaf, and for himself spend all his money in sense gratification. Number 25, one should not eat anything which is not offered first to Krishna. 26, one should not fail to offer fresh fruit and grains to Krishna according to the season. Number 27, after food has been cooked, no one should be offered any foodstuff unless it's first offered to the deity. 28, one should not sit with his back toward the deity. 29, one should not offer obeisances silently to the spiritual master, or in other words, one should recite aloud the prayers to the spiritual master while offering obeisances. Number 30, one should not fail to offer some praise in the presence of the spiritual master. Number 31, one should not praise himself before the spiritual master. Number 32, one should not deride the demigods before the deity. That's Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu ki jai, Shri Prabhupada ki jai. So today is the auspicious day of Jiva Goswami and also appearance day of Vamana Dev. So I'll just first speak a little bit of Jiva Goswami. So Jiva Goswami is one of the 6 Goswamis, and and he was the son of Vallabha, there were three brothers, Rupa Goswami, Sanatan Goswami, and Vallabha. And Jiva Goswami was the son of Vallabha, so he's like the nephew of Rupa and Sanatan. So after Rupa and Sanatan Goswamis left this world, then Jiva Goswami unanimously was accepted as the Acharya of the Sampradaya. And across Orissa, Bengal, Vrindavan, and all other areas, all the followers of Lord Chaitanya accepted Jiva Goswami as their leader. So, and even all other spiritual masters like Gopal Bhatta Goswami, Lokanath Goswami, Hridaya Chaitanya, they all accepted Jiva Goswami as their leader. So, although some of them, like Narottam Das Thakur and Shyamananda Pandit, had like hundreds and thousands of disciples, they didn't think that, oh, I'm better than Jiva Goswami. They still accepted Jiva Goswami as a leader and like their Shiksha Guru. So this is like the humility of Vaishnavas. They may be so great, but still they accept somebody as greater than them. So one day in a dream, then Rupa and Sanatan Goswamis appeared to Jiva Goswami and told him that Srinivasacharya will come to Vrindavan. So you will recognize him. He has all beautiful qualities, and then you should take him to Gopal Bhatta Goswami to take initiation. And also in the dream, Sanatan Goswami and Rupa Goswami told him that all the books of the Goswamis would be sent. You should send them with Srinivasacharya to Bengal to distribute. And so Jiva Goswami became the Shiksha Guru of Srinivasacharya, Narottam Das Thakur, and Shyamananda Pandit. And it was Jiva Goswami who actually gave them the titles, like Narottam Das Thakur and Srinivasacharya and Shyamananda Pandit. So he gave them their respectable titles. And he gave them blessings as well, that they learnt the scriptures in great depth and with the realizations of pure bhakti. And then Jiva Goswami sent these three devotees, Narottam Das Thakur, Srinivasacharya, and Shyamananda Pandit, to distribute the original books, the original manuscripts of the six Goswamis to in Bengal. And then Jiva Goswami himself wrote 25 books and on Vaishnava philosophy and on eternal pastimes of Radha and Krishna, and he composed over like 400,000 verses, like in perfect rhythmic Sanskrit, And Srila Prabhupada explained that of all the philosophers in the world, Jiva Goswami is the foremost. And actually, there's a Benares University, Hindu university, and it's got the entire department is dedicated to studying the books of Jiva Goswami, even to this day. So it's like so important. Jiva Goswami is actually the greatest philosopher in the world. It's accepted. And at the Jiva Goswami has at this temple of Radha Damodar composed all these literatures, and he trained these great acharyas, these prominent Vaishnavas. And it was actually at this very place, the home of Jiva Goswami, that Srila Prabhupada also made his residence for 6 years. And he was praying at the lotus feet of Jiva Goswami and Rupa Goswami to receive their mercy. And he translated and wrote commentaries on the first canto of Bhagavatam at that time. And, the special mission he was given by his spiritual master. He prayed to help fulfill it, to bring Krishna consciousness to the Western world through the message of Lord Chaitanya to the whole world. So it's like so important, this connection, that Prabhupada had with the Goswamis and their place of residence, and his prayers to them, how he obtained their mercy to actually fulfill that mission. So Shri Jiva Goswami ki jai. And, so the next part is the story of Lord Vamana Dev. So we'll just read from Bhagavatam, 8th canto, chapter 18, text 13. Just a short verse. Okay. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 8, Chapter 18, Text 13. Tam vatum vamanam drishtva modamana mahashraya karmani karayam asu puraskritya prajapatim tam vatum vamanam drishtva modamana maharshaya karmani karayam asu puraskritya prajapatim tam vatum vamanam drishtva modamana maharshaya karmani karayam asu puraskritya prajapatim. Tam vatum vamana drishtva modamana maharshaya karmani karayamasu puraskritya prajapatim. Tam vatum vamana drishtva modamana maharshaya karmani karayamasu puraskritya prajapatim. Tam vatum vamanam drishtva modamana maharshaya karmani karayam asu puraskritya prajapatim. Tam vatum vamanam drishtva modamana maharshaya karmani karayam asu puraskritya prajapatim. Vamanatum vamana drishtva modamana maharshaya karmani karayam asu puraskritya prajapatim. Tam, him, vatum, the brahmachari, vamanam, dwarf, drishtva, seeing, modamanaha, in a happy mood, maharishaya, the great saintly persons, karmani, ritualistic ceremonies, karyam asuhu, performed, puraskritya, keeping in front, prajapatim, kashyapa muni, the Prajapati. Translation. When the great sages saw the Lord as the brahmachari dwarf Vamana, they were certainly very pleased. Thus they placed before them Kashyapa Muni, the Prajapati, and performed all the ritualistic ceremonies such as the birthday ceremony. Please repeat. When the great sages saw the Lord as the brahmachari dwarf Vamana, they were certainly very pleased. Thus they placed before them Kashyapa Muni, the Prajapati, and performed all the ritualistic ceremonies, such as the birthday ceremony. Purport Bhasha Prabhupada Ki Jai. According to Vedic civilization, when a child is born in the family of a Brahmana, the birthday ceremony known as Jata Karma is first performed, and then other ceremonies are also gradually performed. But when this Vamana Rup appeared in the form of Vatu or Brahmachari, his sacred thread ceremony was also performed immediately. Om Jnana Divarandasya Jnananjana Shlakaya Chakshurunmitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So when the great sages saw the Lord as the brahmachari dwarf Vamana, they were certainly very pleased. Thus they placed before them Kashyapa Muni the Prajapati and performed all the ritualistic ceremonies such as the birthday ceremony. So this is Lord Vamana Dev's appearance day, and I just wanted to just talk about the pastime of why the Lord appeared and what happened to Bali Maharaj. So Bali Maharaj is a grandson of Prahlad Maharaj. He's actually the son of Virochana, and his grandfather is Prahlad Maharaj. And Bali Maharaj they were born in a family of demons. So because that's the whole problem, they were born in the family of demons, so they're influenced by the demoniac personalities. And Bali Maharaj was so powerful that he attacked Indra's city and took over the heavenly planets. And so the demigods were left without a home. So they went into hiding. And because Bali Maharaj was so powerful, he actually brought the three worlds under his control, under his power. So all the demigods were not, didn't have any place of residence. They were suffering. So the mother of the demigods, the deity, was very much afflicted. Her sons they didn't have any home now, and they had lost their positions in heaven. So she approached her husband Kashyapa Muni, and she asked him to give some benediction so that her sons would regain their kingdom, what they'd lost. So Kashyapa advised the deity that she should perform the Payavrata ceremony to worship Lord Vishnu for the welfare of her sons. So she performs this Payavrata ceremony, which is like a process where, there's lots of vows and sacrifices and charities that you have to perform, and you have to make sure you do everything really well, properly. And the whole purpose of it is to please Krishna, please Lord Vishnu. And then by pleasing Lord Vishnu, then the Lord would satisfy all her desires. So Aditi strictly performed this Payavrata ceremony, and she concentrated her mind upon Vishnu with complete absorption and complete attention. So then eventually Lord Vishnu appeared in his four-armed form before her, and Aditi was overwhelmed with love and gratitude, and she was with ecstatic symptoms. She was crying, and her hair was standing on end. She began to offer prayers to the Lord. And then Lord Vishnu revealed his plan to Aditi, that he would appear as her son, and by his plenary portion, his amsha, and to protect her other sons. So Lord Vamana Dev would come as her son. So the Lord appeared. So then the Lord disappeared, and then he entered Aditi's womb through Kashyapa. And when the Lord first appeared from Aditi's womb, he had actually the four-armed form of Vishnu, and then he transformed into a dwarf Brahmana boy to please his parents. It's similar to like when Krishna appeared as Lord Vishnu, then he took the form of, he accepted his form as Krishna. So here he accepts the form of a dwarf Brahmin. And all the residents of the universe celebrated this auspicious event. So this beautiful picture in the front of the cover shows Lord Vamana Dev appearing with all the different personalities surrounding him, and the demigods, different personalities. And they offer him different gifts as birth ceremony. And because he's not born as a baby, he's actually born as a dwarf Brahmana, then that's why it says that his sacred thread ceremony was immediately performed, not that he had to wait a few years till he grew up. And so the different demigods offered different gifts. So the sun god offered Lord Vamana Dev the Gayatri mantra, Brihaspati offered the sacred thread, Kashyapa Muni offered the straw belt. Bhumi, the earth, offered the deer skin. The moon god offered the danda, the staff, and Aditi offered the kopins. A heavenly personality gave him an umbrella. A Brahma gave him the water pot. 7 sages offered him kusha grass. Saraswati offered him a string of Rudraksha beads. Kuvera gave him a pot for begging alms, and Parvati gave him the first alms. So we see he's holds an umbrella, he's got a water pot, he's got a staff, and he's got a deer skin. He's dressed in a deer skin. So after being welcomed like this, then Vamanadev went to visit Bali Maharaj. Now, Bali Maharaj was doing a sacrificial ceremony at that time. He was performing yagyas, Ashmeda yagya, and so when Vamanadev entered the arena of the sacrifice, then he was so effulgent that all the personalities, all the priests and Bali Maharaj stood up and were overwhelmed, very attracted to this effulgent personality. They were struck with wonder. So then Bali Maharaj offered Vamanadev a seat and washed his feet, his lotus feet, and he was feeling very jubilant. Although he's born in a family of demons, he's actually a great devotee, and he's very charitable. So he offered nice prayers to Vamanadev, great hospitality. And then Bali Maharaj asked Vamanadev, you can ask me for anything you want. I can offer you, a cow or gold, a house, nice food. I can give you a daughter of a Brahmana to marry, lots of villages, horses, elephants, anything you want. I've got, because Bali Maharaj was like, he had all the universe under his control. So he thought, well, whatever Vamanadev wants, I can offer it to him. So then Vamanadev then praises Bali Maharaj that, thanks for his hospitality, and praises that, in his family, the great personalities, they've always kept their vow, the very charitable personalities. And then, so Vamanadev then begs for 3 paces of land, 3 steps of land to the measurement of his steps. He says, O king of the demons, from you I only ask 3 paces of land to the measurement of my steps. I don't want anything else. Although you are the king of the universe and very generous, a learned man who takes charity only according to his needs will not be entangled in sin. So, although he could have asked for anything, he could have asked for the whole universe actually, but he only asked for 3 paces of land. And he makes the point that a learned man who takes charity only according to his needs will not be entangled in sin. So it's a very important lesson, and Vamanadev is preaching the Ishavasa philosophy principle. Can anyone remember what the Ishavasa principle is? Jayananda? What was that? Mm-hmm. Okay. So it's from the Ishopanishad, it's Ishavasam Idam Sarvam. So there's a nice verse which says, everything animate or inanimate within the universe is controlled and owned by the Lord. And one should therefore accept only those things necessary for himself, which are set aside as his quota, and we should not accept other things knowing to whom they belong. So we have to accept that the real proprietor is Krishna, that everything is owned by him, and we should only accept those things which are set aside as our quota, and not accept other things which, knowing that they all belong to Krishna. So when Bali Maharaj heard Vamanadev that he only wanted 3 steps of land, then he considered like Vamanadev, a less intelligent boy. He says, I can give you an entire planet. Why do you only ask for 3 steps of land? So Vamanadev replies with another important statement. This verse is really nice. He says, O my dear king, this is Vamanadev speaking, O my dear king, even the entirety of whatever there may be within the 3 worlds to satisfy one's senses cannot satisfy a person whose senses are uncontrolled. So the point is, if the senses are uncontrolled, then no matter what we have or what we try to get, even if we get everything in the 3 worlds, we'll still not be satisfied. And that's actually what's happening now in people in the world. They're anxious to get more and more things for sense gratification, but we find that people are becoming more and more dissatisfied, actually, and more depressed and frustrated because they're not satisfied, no matter how much entertainment, no matter how much they're trying to enjoy their senses through food, through eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. They're not satisfied. So Vamana continued that one should be satisfied with whatever one achieves by one's previous destiny. One who's not self-controlled will not be happy even with possessing the three worlds. So it's such an important point that unless we can control our senses, we're never going to be satisfied, no matter how much we have or how much we try to get. So, so Bali Maharaj agreed to give Vamana the 3 steps of land. So he took his water pot and offered water to for the vow to take place. And then just at that time, when Bali Maharaj was going to give everything to Vamana, Sukracharya's spiritual master immediately spoke to Bali Maharaj, tried to dissuade him. He says, no, you don't realize that actually this Vamana is not an ordinary brahmachari boy, a dwarf Brahmin. He's actually Lord Vishnu disguised as a brahmachari boy. And he said that he's going to take away everything from you. You're going to be left with nothing. He's going to take all your wealth, all your power, everything, and you're going to be left with nothing. So because Sukracharya he's not a pure devotee, he's a smarta Brahmin. He's like a priestly class, materialistic priest. So he knew that because he was dependent on Bali Maharaj for remuneration, for dakshin and things. So he could understand that if Bali Maharaj gave everything to Vamana, then he's not going to be able to get anything for himself either. So he's going to lose out too. So it's not just Bali Maharaj, but Sukracharya himself is not going to receive anything. So he can't be maintained. So so he gave so many different reasons, that, you shouldn't do this. But Bali Maharaj was so fixed that he'd given his vow to give 3 steps of land. So he wasn't going to, take his, be wrong to his word. So he wanted to stay true to his word. So then Sukracharya cursed Bali Maharaj for disobeying him, and he said that you will lose all your opulence. He cursed him like this. So, but still Bali Maharaj was not swayed. He was cursed by his spiritual master, but he still, didn't give up his promise. He still stuck to his promise that he gave Vamana his 3 steps of land. So then Vamana first, he increased in size, and then he covered the earth and the heavenly planets with his first step. And then with the second step, he covered the higher planets. And it's described that his toe pierced the covering of the universe, and the Ganges came through that hole. So it started to flow into this universe. So after covering the whole universe with his 2 steps, he asked Bali Maharaj, now, so I've already covered the whole universe, that what you own, with my first 2 steps. So where am I going to put my 3rd step? You've promised me 3 steps of land, and I've already used up my 2 steps. So where am I going to put my 3rd step? So then he says, if you don't fulfill your promise, you're going to go to hell. So you need to fulfill your promise. So then Vamana, he was actually doing this to glorify Bali Maharaj's tolerance and his forbearance and his truthfulness, to keep his vow. And because Bali Maharaj was prepared to go to hell to fulfill his promise, so Bali Maharaj said that, please place your 3rd footstep on my head. So this, because the owner of something is greater than what he owns, so still he had himself to offer. He gave all his possessions, the 3 worlds, but he still had himself. So then Vamana bound Bali Maharaj up with this Varun snake, the Suki, and he was basically chastising Bali Maharaj for not keeping his promise. So at that point, Prahlad Maharaj came to offer prayers to the Lord, and Lord Brahma offered prayers, and they all glorified Lord Vamanadev and explained how Bali Maharaj, he's given everything to you now. And so then the Lord, because the Lord, he takes away our wealth and our power to actually help us to get free from Maya, and so it can be quite disturbing, if you've got everything and then all of a sudden you have nothing, then it can be quite disturbing. But Bali Maharaj was not disturbed by all this. He still wasn't disturbed, although everything was taken away from him. And although he passed all the severe tests that were put by the Lord. So it's described in the Bhagavatam that the Lord not only tests a devotee, but he also gives them the necessary tolerance or strength to tolerate everything so that they can be glorified for the future generations. And we can see that with Prabhupada as well, that Prabhupada went through so many difficulties. He went through heart attacks. He was trying to trying to spread a worldwide movement, in old age, when it's so difficult to do anything, when you're old, it's very difficult. So Prabhupada went through so many difficulties, but the Lord helped him to tolerate them for his future glorification. And we can see today, even today, we are glorifying Prabhupada for all the things that the difficulties he went through to help us, get Krishna consciousness. So by doing this, Bali Maharaj actually became one of the Mahajans. And Vamanadev blessed Bali Maharaj that he would live in the Sutala planet, which is one of the hellish planets, but due to the mercy of the Lord, that would become better than one of the heavenly planets. And Bali Maharaj said that, and Vamanadev personally accepted the post of a doorkeeper for Bali Maharaj. He said that he will protect him from all any enemies, attack. So this is actually the glory of the Lord, that he becomes a servant of his devotees. And that's his greatness. And the greatness of the devotee is that he can conquer the Lord like this, that the Lord actually becomes a servant of his devotee. So we can see in this beautiful pastime that how the Lord tested Bali Maharaj to the extreme, it's described, let me find that verse, it's a beautiful verse. 8th canto. It's a very beautiful verse. It's just describing how the Bali Maharaj gave everything, and he was I think it's chapter 21, I think it's in. So when he got arrested, maybe it's in chapter 22. 22. I can't find it. Anyway, it's a beautiful verse that describes how, although Bali Maharaj was rebuked, he lost all his wealth and power. He was cursed by his spiritual master, and he was bound by the ropes of these ropes, and still he was so truthful to his word. He never gave up his promise to Lord Vamanadev, even although he was suffering so much. And it's describing that how glorious Bali Maharaj is, that he could actually tolerate this. And he's the one who's Atma Nivedanam, so there's different personalities who attain perfection by different items of devotional service, the 9 processes of devotional service, and he's the one who gave Atman Nivedanam, everything, body, mind, and soul, to the Lord. So it's a very beautiful pastime. Is there any questions or comments? Yes, Kartika. Hare Krishna. That's a good question. It's just this. It doesn't describe the reasons why this, but it's just described that Prahlad Maharaj's son was Virochana, and Virochana, the demigod, because they're still in a Daitya family, they're still in a demoniac family, they've still got their demonic associates, and the Sukracharyas there. So they have to they're still staying in that family. They're not like becoming into demigods family, So, no, Prahlad Maharaj not. No, no, he's the son of Hiranyakashipu. Prahlad Maharaj. Mm. No, but because of what happened, if you read the pastime, why DT and everything, so it's she conceived in the wrong time, and then she had to give birth to demoniac sons. So it's not that they're from a demoniac family, but because the consciousness wasn't right at conception, then she gave birth to demoniac sons. Well, it doesn't describe why in the Bhagavatam. Okay, I can't comment what I don't know, but it's just described that Virochana, the father of Bali Maharaj, the demigods disguised themselves as Brahmanas and took away, in pretense, took away in charity his wealth or something like this, his power. And that's why Bali Maharaj was his son, and he was upset that they'd taken away everything, so he wanted to get revenge. I'm not sure exactly, but he tried to take over the demigods. He tried to get the kingdom of the demigods, and then he took over all the planets of the universe. And then it just, although it's like a bit like Vristasura. He's a devotee at heart, but externally he's like a demoniac personality, So in the same way, Bali Maharaj is a devotee at heart. He's very charitable, and he could see that if this is Lord Vishnu, he wanted to give everything to Lord Vishnu. He said, then even more reasons why I should give him the charity he wants, So it's not that he was against Lord Vishnu. So there's because he's a son of Prahlad Maharaj, then that rubs on, his special, and it's because of Bali Maharaj that Vamana Dev was more compassionate to him, because of his connection to Prahlad Maharaj as a pure devotee. Yeah, so we don't know the plan of the Lord. You can put devotees in demoniac families. Well, there was what's his name? There was Dvivida. He was a devotee of Lord Ram, but he offended Lakshman. Then in the next, life, he became antagonistic towards Krishna and Balaram. So it can happen that you are actually in a Vaishnava family, or but you can, you are associating with the Lord, but then you can turn against him. Look at KK. KK as well. She loves Lord Ram, and the next minute she's sends him in exile. So that demonic mentality, the mentality can change to demonic. Just because we're born in a devotee family doesn't mean that we're going to have devotee mentality. We can change, and even if we do, it's any time the mind can take over and we can become demoniac. So it's not guaranteed that we're born in a devotee family or a demoniac family that will have those tendencies. So like Prahlad Maharaj is a pure devotee who's born in a demoniac family, and then you've got Kashyapa Muni, who's a great Muni, and he's given birth to Hiranyakashipu, two demons. So it's like it's depending on the consciousness, isn't it? And also like the Lord gives special blessings, like because Prahlad Maharaj was in the womb and Narada Muni was giving him blessings, so then he became a pure devotee. So by the blessings of devotees, even the demoniac mentality can be changed and we can become pure devotees, whereas by displeasing the pure devotees we can be cursed and then become like the doorkeepers of Vaikuntha were cursed by the four Kumaras and became demons. So it shows the importance that if we offend devotees we can fall drastically from Vaikuntha, and so it's sorry. So then you put, well, it doesn't describe that he actually put it on his head, but he offered his head to Lord Vamana for the third step. And then he was bound by Lord Vamana, and then eventually, after all the prayers and everything, then he was given a planet called Sutala, where Vamana became the doorkeeper of Bali Maharaj. So the Lord himself took that post of doorkeeper, and he wouldn't let any enemies in to Bali Maharaj's kingdom. And well, it's shown in the movies like that, but I'm not sure if that actually happened. It's small. Yeah. Yeah, but the Lord always protects the demigods because they're his devotees. So although they make mistakes, demigods are not all pure devotees. They're they're sakama bhaktas, which means they have material desires, and they sometimes they forget that Lord Vishnu is the supreme controller, but still when they're in trouble, when there's demons arriving and they get harassed by demons, then they turn to Lord Vishnu. So and then the Lord, because he's a protector of the demigods, he protects them. He comes in so many incarnations to protect the demigods. Like it's like in this incarnation he's come as Vamana Dev, then he comes as Mohini Murti and Kurma, and it's like all to protect the demigods because they're his devotees still. They may be materialistic in many ways, but they're still his devotees. No, they're living entities. No, they're under control of Vishnu. They're like a government, and the Lord is like in control. He's like the king, and then he's got a government of all the different demigods, and they all work under Lord Vishnu. So they get their power from Lord Vishnu to do all the different things that they do. So they're not independent at all. They are completely under the control of the Lord. But sometimes they think, like as you say, they get a bit puffed up and they think they're independent. Well, they have free will, just like we have free will. Like, sometimes like they forget or they make mistakes, and they're living entities with more power than we have, but it doesn't mean they don't make mistakes and they don't get under illusion. So it's like partly it's pastime and partly it's their free will. And we're learning from these mistakes, what people make, the demigods make, what Balimarj makes, and we also learn how, although he is born in a demoniac family, still he's prepared to give everything to Lord Vishnu. So he has, it's like, it's not black and white, is it? It's like there's it's a deep pastime, really. You have to understand. If you read through it, if you go through the different acharyas, they say different things about why this happened, why that happened, what was the meaning of this. Well, as I said, like some of these, like these are pastimes of the Lord, so He's arranging things for our benefit so that we can understand from these personalities what to do and what not to do. So it's not like it's like Arjuna is put in illusion so that the Bhagavad Gita could be spoken, and Parikshit Maharaj is put into an illusion so that the Bhagavatam could be spoken. Like he got cursed by this Brahmin boy and everything, but it's a whole arrangement by the Lord so that we can actually benefit from it. So Krishna uses his pure devotees to teach us. So sometimes he arranges that his pure devotees make mistakes so that we can learn from their mistakes, and or he shows how they should and how they do things, so that we can learn from them. Because the pure devotees are just completely surrendered to Krishna, so whatever he wants, they'll accept whatever role he wants them to play. So that's why the pure devotees, like, and the Mahabharata is showing how the Pandavas go through so many difficulties. Why does he arrange all that? So that we can learn how pure devotees actually take shelter of Krishna. They don't just give up Krishna when they go through difficulties. They take shelter of Krishna. So Krishna teaches us. It's like what's that saying? You teach the daughter by teaching the daughter-in-law. I don't know if you've heard that, but in Indian families, if a daughter-in-law comes to the house, then the mother, instead of teaching the daughter-in-law, she teaches her daughter. She chastises her daughter, or corrects her daughter, so the daughter-in-law learns. So it's like, because the daughter is more closer and she'll accept more easily than the daughter-in-law. So like the pure devotees, they accept all these things because they're pure devotees. They can accept all these difficulties so that others can learn from them. We're not so inclined to accept difficulties, and things like this. So it's to show us that this is the situation, this is how we can actually take shelter of the Lord when we go through difficulty, you know. So he teaches, you know, through his pure devotees. If you read the Chaitanya Charitamrita, it's the same kind of principle. The Lord Chaitanya uses his pure devotees to set an example for others, you know. So that's what the Lord's pastimes are. He uses his pure devotees to show us how to be devotees, how to take shelter, how to do things in the correct way, follow etiquette, things like that. Does that answer your question? Thank you. Shall I just stop now? Is there anything else? It's okay. You want to ask a question? Oh, okay. Okay, thank you very much. So we're going to have a. Sorry. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, because his wife sings, well, you don't actually own anything anyway, so you're not actually surrendering it. Everything belongs to the Lord anyway. So what are you surrendering, you know? So yeah. Yeah, it's like she understands more. Bali Maharaj's wife, Vindhya Bali. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that was this illusion, thinking that he was the possessor and controller, the proprietor of the whole universe, when he didn't actually own anything. And so that was the illusion, and that's what Balman Dev came to destroy, that illusion. You know, that you actually are not the proprietor of anything, and in the same way, like we think we're the proprietor of this body or our house or whatever, but at any moment it can get taken away from us. You know, it's not like we're going to be, you know, eternally here. I heard a nice statement. Radhanath Maharaj was quoting this Christian that he said that he heard something that Jesus said that this material world is a bridge to cross to the spiritual world, but don't build a house on it. Have you ever seen a house on a bridge? So nobody sees a house on a bridge, right? Because they know it's just to cross over. They don't settle on a bridge. Nobody kind of makes their residence on a bridge. So in the same way, this material world is just like a bridge to cross over. So we shouldn't try to be comfortable and get settled and in this material world, because it's not. It's actually just a bridge, and you're just crossing over. So we shouldn't become so attached to things, thinking that, oh, this is mine, this isn't, because it's not. Eventually, we're going to have to leave it behind. So it's we have to learn detachment, and we have to understand that the real proprietor is Krishna, and we're looking after maybe certain persons because they belong to Krishna, like Bhaktivinoda Thakur. You know, he accepted that his whole family belonged to Krishna, and that he's just looking after them as servants of Krishna. You know. So in the same way, we can serve others, seeing them belonging to Krishna, but we shouldn't think false proprietorship, thinking that it belongs to me, you know. But we're just caretakers, really, and everything belongs to Krishna. So he's got the right to take it away if he wants, you know, because it's his. Yeah, yeah. So tomorrow's Bhaktivinoda Thakur's appearance day, isn't it? I think it's tomorrow's Bhaktivinoda Thakur's appearance day, so we can talk more about Bhaktivinoda Thakur's life tomorrow. Thank you for attending and nice discussion. Granth Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Iskon Guruvind ki jai, Shaprapad ki jai, Gaur Premanandi Haribol.